What's up, DBs? Coach D Magic here, former D1 defensive back. And man, I am here to talk about Jaylon Johnson. This is some old footage too, but I stumbled upon just his highlights, and he's making all these plays in one game. Like I'm talking about, he made like five pass breakups in one game. And I think he's underrated. I will say that I'm one of the people that are underrating him because I definitely don't talk about him nearly as much as I should. But before I talk about what's going on here, make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com. A lot of the stuff we talk about, if not all of it, is going to be in that DB Mastery program, $50, and you guys will learn exactly what the pros learn, or you'll learn exactly what the pros know. You'll have the same drills that you're gonna, if you go D1, you're gonna have the same drills they're doing in D1. So make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com. Now, what I always suggest, and what I'm noticing that with this generation, is that you guys aren't watching football. You're watching 7-on-7 and you're watching 1-on-1s, but you gotta watch the pros, because I didn't have a DB coach, I didn't have a YouTube coach. So a lot of what I learned about the position and what I did through mimicking, right? So I didn't really know when I was 13, 14, how to press or really how to play cover 3 or any of this stuff. So I just mimic movements, all right? So if I'm this guy right here, if I'm this corner and I'm guarding a wide receiver and I see him doing this, kind of backing up, staying square to the receiver, all right, then that's naturally what I was going to do. So for you guys but the caveat, not the caveat, but the other side of that coin is like, okay, coach, like if I'm watching it, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I have no idea what to look for. So I guess that's what I'm for. All right. So we are going to talk about him over here, and we're going to talk about field corner versus boundary corner. Now, their hashes are a lot closer, but imagine you're to the field, right? So the ball would pretty much be right here, and you'd be over here. So a lot of playing DB is playing percentages, okay? So if the ball is way over here and we're to the field, 90% of the routes he can run from this split meaning where he's lined up, are going to be in-breaking routes. Slant, 5 and in, dig, curl, post, over route, whatever. Realistically, you're not going to throw an out route from this split. Like, you're not going to throw a comeback from this split. It's too far. How many, high school quarterbacks are throwing comebacks from the field, right, to the field? You can throw a fade. Yes, you can throw a fade. But with good technique, we would still be in between him and the ball, and that's still a low percentage throw. All right, so we're playing percentages. We're inside leverage. We're protecting the inside. And then you'll learn this through experience. If a receiver to the field walks off the ball, or just in general, if the receiver walks off the ball, hops off the ball like this, it's very rare that you're going to get any of the intermediate stuff because it's going to take too long. All right, so if he's walking off the ball, they like to walk off the ball for 5 and ins, which is what this is. Great job staying square. Like, he can't walk off, hop off, hit you with an inside move, and then go to the fade. But like, even then, like I said, it's gotta be that. That's a very low percentage throw. Percentages tell us that we're gonna play the inside. We could run to the fade. All right. So if he walks off, hops off, or to the field, that's usually because they like that 5 and in. And this concept is very popular. 5 and in by the number 1 receiver, 5 and in by the number 2 receiver, and near the goal line, number 3, the tight end will hit a 7, or he has an option where he can cut inside here. All right, great job there. So I hope you learned something from that. You should have learned a couple things from that if I explained it correctly. Now this is kind of me assuming something. So I think he just went rogue here. So 2 things could have happened here. Either they saw this on film and they talked about, hey, when we're pressed up like this and we're sending pressure 1 high when they're in empty, any switch before 5 yards, we're going to automatically pass off. That's probably, I'm not pretty sure, but that is something that may have been talked about, because I know that's something that I tell my guys when I'm coaching. Anything when we're sending pressure like this, all out basically, any switch before 5 yards is going to be an automatically switch for us. And then you're working with a linebacker, right? A lot of times in empty, they like to go at the linebacker because he's the worst guy in coverage. And on top of that, whenever you get empty, the ball is usually coming out quick. It just naturally comes out quick. So with all that in mind, the coverage, the quick switch kind of principle, the banjo principle, and then the idea that in empty, the ball is going to come out quick. He's, high football IQ here, makes a play on third down. And they're pointing to each other here, so they must have talked about it. Great job there. And then they try to lull us to sleep with play action, all right? So if we're in cover 3 or any type of zone, when we have vision on the quarterback, we shouldn't get fooled if we have good eyes. And I tell my guys, okay, assignment, alignment, technique, and key, meaning eyes, all right? So assignment, cover 3. Alignment, he's tight, so we're going to be outside. We have deep third. Technique, we're going to, let's say we're going to shuffle as we read the quarterback, and then we're going to crossover run, okay? And then our eyes, all right? So you can read the uncovered lineman to the quarterback, all right, as we have vision, as we have everything in our triangle. We can see him, see him, see him, see him. So even though they're getting run action, what type of set is this? Is his helmet low because he's run blocking, or is he basically kick sliding? All right, this is a pass set to me. This is a pass set. Okay, now they can do a draw. All right, but that the draw is not really our concern. Looks like a pass set. So regardless of what this looks like as far as them running the ball, our key and just our zone, having deep zone, or this, I mean, if we're a flat player, regardless of having a zone, right, we're getting a pass set. All right, so it shouldn't surprise us that from that pass set, they're trying to throw the ball. Great eye discipline here, and good job playing the high shoulder, the upfield shoulder. All right, we can strip that arm down if we need to, but he plays the upfield shoulder. Boom, good play on the ball. Good job playing the hands here. And this is all in one game, man. So the dude's making plays. And then I really like this play here. It looks like quarters, but regardless of the coverage, we're just talking about the technique. So he's not really bailing, but you can use this, the same coaching point in a bail. He's in his crossover run, right? So I want you to watch, okay? I know it gets a little fuzzy, but you should be able to tell that his front shoulder is lower than his back shoulder. So watch the 3s on his jersey. All right, watch the 3s on his jersey. The first 3 starts to kind of dip down. That tells me that he has a low front shoulder. The reason why that's so key is because when you have a low front shoulder, when it's time to break, okay, when it's time to break, all your momentum, like your body's leaning into the break already, versus like you got to do some imagination so you can really stand up. Like I'm standing up, right, or I'm sitting down right now. Like imagine like you running and your back shoulder is low. You see, and you should feel how your body is tilting opposite of where you want to break. All right. So if my back shoulder is lower than my front shoulder, my body's going to go opposite my break, which means my break's not going to be as quick. Versus if I have a low front shoulder, as soon as I decelerate, I'm already going into the break. Okay. I'm already leaning into the break. So, those are my tips. And we talk about this in the DB Mastery program. Great job, Jaylon Johnson. Like I said, this is like 2022 or whatever. He's definitely, I think he's been an all-pro. He got paid, got a big extension. So I'm a little late to the party, but, film never expires when it comes to something you can learn from. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Please like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com for over 100 D1 and NFL drills to make you an elite defensive back.